Daredevil Born Again episode 6 is packed with symbolism, and it has Marvel's most disturbing villain yet. The show even had to tame him down a bit. So in a minute, we're going to reveal what they couldn't show us on TV. But first, guys, let's interpret this mural from this episode. Painted by Muse, he painted it by draining people's blood, mixing it with epoxy, and then painting it on skyscrapers. So, guys, this is the mural from this episode. I have an idea of what it means. What do you guys think it means?
It's spelled out with dollar signs.
No, there's more to it. There's more to it. All right. Should I spoil it? Okay. So,
sure.
This is supposed to be Kingpin worshiping money or the bull, probably a symbol of the economy. Yeah. So it seems like he's making a commentary about how a lot of politicians are corrupted by this chase for money and power, and that is the thing that they worship. That is apparently what they're trying to say with this character. Now, I did kind of think that was ironic, because if you're going to call out corrupt politicians, people might not take you seriously if you actually go around killing people to make that statement. But then I wondered, okay, is him being a serial killer, is that part of the message too? Like the fact that it's made of painted blood and epoxy, like people died to make this art. Is that supposed to say that, like, when these leaders pursue money and power the way they do, like evil leaders, are they actually like killing people in the process of that pursuit?
I personally think it means the dude is cracked in the head.
Mostly that.
Yeah, I think he believes what he's doing is, he's trying to get a message out there, but he's got his insane side as well that makes him want to kill people.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what it's about.
He kind of is the corrupt person that he's painting about. He just doesn't have a position of power, except if you consider over his victims. But he doesn't look like somebody who has a lot of money, since he's living in a abandoned subway track. So
he's insane.
He basically is the people he criticizes minus the money. Yeah. So there's a difference from him in the show and in the comics. Now, do you guys know anything about Muse? Doug, you found that he's a character created in like 2016.
Yeah,
he's fairly new.
Years old yet.
Yeah, I looked up some comic book stuff from him, and there's a shot in this episode where they show some bodies hanging from the ceiling. And I had the thought, like, well, wait, why does he keep these bodies around? Because we just saw him drain the blood of his most recent victim and then already dump the body. So why did he decide to keep these other bodies? And I think the answer is, well, they just couldn't show you on TV what he really does. And it would have been scary, but it would have gotten this probably banned from TV. So they put some bodies up there to make it scary, but it doesn't make sense. Do you want to see a frame from the comic that shows what's really up there?
Please.
Sure.
Okay. So viewers, this is a little disturbing. So if you got a queasy stomach, don't look at this part, but here you go. It's brains. It's not bodies from the ceiling. He suspends brains.
That's different.
Yep. I totally understand why they couldn't put that in the show. But yeah, he's even more demented than he was in this episode.
Sounds like. Maybe that'll be the next step. Maybe they'll show that. Because I've seen brains on TV shows before.
Yeah.
So having the brains in the ceiling, why does he remove people's brains? It could be a statement about how he thinks society can't think. They have an inability to see reality. They can't think, so he removes the brain, dumps the body. See, it kind of artistically, it's messed up, but it has a message, and they just couldn't probably complete it on the show. But we still kind of get the idea. The paintings, the epoxy paintings, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it keeps everyone on their toes and gives another fear of being outside for New Yorkers.
Yeah.
You already
Yeah.
got to deal with 19 other things, and now it's like, oh, and now there's this dude running around in a white mask killing people and painting murals with their blood. Great.
Yeah, wonderful. So there's a ton of symbolism in this episode and when Daredevil finds Muse's lair. So at the end later, we're going to talk about Adam and the symbolism there, which is pretty interesting. But before we get there, what about the symbolism in this confrontation between Daredevil and Muse? Did you notice anything that the show did to kind of send a message or symbolize something?
Well, I saw that they were intertwining that with Fisk beating up that one dude. Can't remember his name, but that other guy, Adam. Yeah. So I think what they were showing is they were both enraged and ready to kill, but at the last second, White Tiger Jr. or Miss White Tiger, her heart's starting to stop, so he knows he needs to get over there. So it's showing that he's still willing to not let somebody die just to finish a mission or revenge or something like that.
Yeah, so they're both being tempted to kill at the same time. And that's interesting, especially with Fisk, because, his victim's name is Adam and Eve, the first man,
Mm-hmm.
So they are, I think, intentionally playing with some temptation symbolism. And that makes sense with this being a Catholic superhero, right?
Sure.
So you have those two parallel character symbols going on at the same time. And I did wonder, like, oh, is he going to cross the line with Muse? I don't know. Is he going to kill Muse? But they also intersplice, the heartbeat scene. I think that's supposed to be like a redemption arc because they shoot this kind of like they shot Foggy's death. And, he heard the heartbeat, but he kept pursuing Bullseye. Now, I wondered, like, was there supposed to be a statement here about, like, maybe Matt should have turned back and just given all his attention to Foggy, and maybe he wouldn't have died in that first episode. But I don't think that's the case because Foggy, I mean, Karen was there and he bled out. He didn't need CPR. And two, like Bullseye was actively killing everybody in sight, So I think he did what he had to do there. But I did think they're probably trying to telegraph that Matt is faced with the same choice he was faced at the end of episode 1. Do you kill, or at the beginning of episode 1, does he kill Bullseye? Well, this time Muse is in that position. So they bring back the heartbeat. They bring back someone who's dying and needs help. They redo the Foggy scene with Angela. Did you guys catch that at the time?
Yeah, and I actually, for a minute there, thought he was going to kill Muse. He had him hanging, and it didn't look like he was going to let him go. Like he was, I'm going to hang you by the neck until you're dead. And, then the last second he let her go. So I think they definitely had that same parallel. And what decision are you making in this time? And obviously he chose to go. And I'm assuming Muse was pretty much done for the fight after that. At least he should be. So
I didn't think that Adam was going to die, honestly. When Fisk starts fighting him, like I did not think he would kill Adam because of the promise he made to Vanessa. I thought that Vanessa would discover him in the cage at some point. So, but then in thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense though, because if his name is Adam to play with the Adam and Eve story, then Fisk's temptation is whether or not he's going to kill Adam. And that would, if you're following the Adam and Eve storyline, if he gives in to temptation, he's going to get banned from paradise, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I think what's going to happen now is he just, opened a huge can of worms with Vanessa. Like, everything is going to fall apart because of this decision, and he's going to be, cast out of paradise. So I don't know, maybe this means that he gets exposed as mayor.
I don't think he killed Adam, though.
You don't?
No, I think he beat him pretty severely and then drug him back into the cell, and you're going to stay there until I feel like beating on you again.
Okay. So maybe that's what the bloody knuckles.
Maybe that's where it's coming from. He goes down and he beats the snot out of him, and then I'm not going to kill you, but I'm going to punch you so hard that your head goes through a brick wall.
Yeah. So now we're in the same debate as episode 2 at the end, where we thought that those cops died when Daredevil fought.
You can take a lot in this universe, apparently.
Yeah, everyone's not dying pretty easily.
So. Well, Doug, what do you think? Did you take it that he killed Adam, or
I thought he did? Yeah, and he just drug him into the thing just to get him out of the way or something.
And I could be wrong, but
no, now that you mentioned it, I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Bloody knuckles and everything. So yeah, this is what he does.
Well, he started that fight too by saying, like, he said something like, Vanessa would want me to let you live, but I can't do that. Not in those exact words, but implied that, like, he has to kill. And so that's part of the reason I thought he died. But then when he was laying down, he took a punch, like, in the eye where there was a loud crunch and, like, some blood. And I thought, oh, that was the killing blow. So I don't know.
Means nothing.
Yeah. After episode 2, crunching means nothing.
That's true. Yeah. That dude's neck bent backwards and cracked. He should be dead twice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He really should. Yeah. And so should Bullseye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough world there down in MCU Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it Brooklyn? Whatever.
Huh?
Well,
no,
this is an interesting
Manhattan.
Okay. Yeah, they're on Manhattan.
I don't know New York that well.
Kind of continuing with the Adam and Eve metaphor, I'm sure they're playing with this because they're playing with the idea that Fisk is falling. Like, this is the fall of Fisk being portrayed in the episode. Luca calls him an old man who's out of the game. There's a scene where Vanessa puts a jacket on Fisk and the jacket rips right in the armpit. I mean, that little scene right there, I thought, that's there for a reason. And it's, I think, supposed to show that, like, Fisk is slowly kind of breaking down and falling apart. So that's why I thought, okay, now at the end of this episode, that seemed like this is the moment that we're going to consider the fall of Fisk. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the next episode.
Yeah, when the tear, I was basically thinking that's you mentioned it kind of the same way, but that's the first step to what Kingpin truly is, because they even mentioned in the first episode when Matt and Fisk are talking, you've lost weight, and the fact that he's starting to gain a little bit of weight and, his suits aren't fitting him anymore. He's starting to not only mentally, but physically become the Kingpin.
Dude, that's a good catch. I did not remember that from episode 1. So in 6 episodes, he's gained a lot of weight, probably lost a lot of his fitness. Yeah.
Yep. So he's starting to become, which was cool. Yeah. Just a nice little something in there.
Yeah. And did you notice, you noticed some things in the scene where he's trying to fundraise for his Red Hook port, which we said in a previous episode, that's where Vanessa conducts some of her illegal business. So I totally noticed that when Vanessa is watching him in this episode get shut down, she's smiling. And when he tells her that Luca came to see him and said he wouldn't give me the $1.8 million, so I put $1 million tax on. Now it's $2.8 million. Like, she's smiling. And if this had been like season 1 or 3, I would interpret the smile as, well, Luca doesn't know what's coming because Fisk is going to destroy him, like a sadistic smile. But in this season, the way I read her smile is like she might be enjoying watching Fisk crumble, because I still take it that she wants out of the situation, but there must be some fear of what he would do. So, what did you guys think?
No, I think you're right on with that. I think she is taking pleasure in him struggling, maybe eventually revealing himself as to what he really is. Yeah, I think she's enjoying it also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if she's wanting out though. I think she knows I think she kind of wants to be the kingpin, but to be the kingpin, she needs him to be the kingpin, basically. Because he is, everyone sees him like that. And they may not see him like that right now, but overall, she knows to truly run New York or be what she wants to be, she needs the kingpin. So I think she's smiling just because it's like, okay, he's getting angrier. He's getting angrier. He's going to come back to what he was in season 1, the man I fell in love with.
Interesting. So you think she doesn't like
interesting.
hero Fisk. She only likes sadistic villain Fisk.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why they're struggling right now. That's why they're split up. I mean, I know he left for a handful of years too, but she still wants to do that underground dirty stuff, and he's like, I'm trying to be mayor.
Yeah. I wonder, I'm not totally sold on it because she seemed like she was doing well without him, and he showed up and steered the ship in another direction that she didn't want to go. But I don't know. Maybe we'll find out there's something she wanted to do where she needs him to, I mean, she's not going to go run for mayor. She's not that type of personality.
Right.
So, yeah, very interesting indeed.
That fundraising scene, we talked about it a little bit beforehand, but you guys hadn't seen the Hawkeye show, which is actually pretty decent. You should check it out. You don't need to know a bunch of the other things. It's a fun show. But one of the guys that Fisk was talking to, the Jack, I don't know how to say his last name, DeQuince or something like that. The very suave guy with the goatee and everything like that. He was from the Hawkeye TV series, and he was the Swordsman. Swordsman is an old comic book hero that was part of the Avengers. And they actually show at the beginning of the episode this guy this vigilante fighting with a sword. And then he shows up later on in the show. So it's like, I recognized him right off the bat because he had a cool character. Mm-hmm. He's actually Little Hawkeye's stepfather, I think.
Yeah, so that adds an extra layer to the scene where Fisk is getting rejected by the people at the fundraiser, because everybody's rejecting him for various reasons. But one lady says, look, we all know that you made a profit illegally in that area before you were mayor. And so she thinks it's just another con for him to go revitalize that area so he can get control and make more money. So then when you see him, I mean, they're all rejecting him because they know he's a crook, and like some of them are secretly heroes, or other people probably just give to charities and things like that. But yeah, that adds an extra layer to why they're rejecting him, because another superhero, like Daredevil, there's nothing that Fisk could do to ever earn their trust at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that character, portrayed by Tony Dalton, is the actor, is Jacques Duchesne, or Jack Duchesne in these. So
Duchesne, okay, that's
yeah, Duchesne. You said the name, and I'm like, I wonder if it means Duchesne. It's French.
I don't
French.
Jacques Duchesne.
Lucky, I'm barely get through English, so.
So we should talk about how Daredevil finally puts the suit on in this episode. I thought it was interesting that Angela comes to him for help figuring out why there are so many serial killers dying. Because her uncle Hector used to be White Tiger, right? And that was the case he was trying to crack when he died. So she wants to finish his work. And she thinks that he's not doing anything because he's like, well, I'm a lawyer. What am I going to do? But I think that's an interesting interaction because, I mean, whether or not he puts on the suit, I think we all know he's going to do something about it. He just can't tell her. So, like, when she goes off on him, he just has to take it because he can't expose himself. You know, he can't tell her he's Daredevil or tell her, I've got these super abilities, you know?
Right.
But yeah, suit or not, you know that he's probably going to look into that because that's who he is. He's just motivated by compassion. So 60 people dying in his city, I don't think he can let that go. Do you?
Nah. And that's why he had all those flashbacks of him fighting the cops, him doing everything that Daredevil does, but he just hasn't been putting on the suit. And I think that's why it kept showing those. It's like, I'm trying not to be Daredevil, but I'm Daredevil. I've been doing it, you know, ever since I said I would stop. I'm still beating people up. I'm still needed out there as Daredevil. And that's why he just said, F it, and
Put the suit on.
put the suit on and start flying around like Spider-Man.
Okay, so that's interesting because that is cut right before Fisk goes down there into the subway to see Adam with the axe. I mentioned how, like, Adam's life is basically the forbidden fruit for Fisk. So for Matt, I was interpreting those flashlights. I was interpreting those flashbacks a little bit differently because I thought in the scenes that they were showing him fighting was like when his anger is almost spilling over. You know, Foggy dies, he lost control. So I wondered if to him, like, Daredevil was what he was tempted to be. He was tempted to put on the suit, but I think we all know, like, that it's not totally bad that he becomes Daredevil. It's only bad if he's not ready and he loses control. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that was just him accepting who he is. But I think the reason I wondered is this a mistake that he put the suit on now? This is going to set up major consequences that the show is going to have to deal with. Because if one person sees him and Fisk gets any word, I mean, he's swinging around by a grapple, you know? If anyone posts online that they saw Daredevil is back and he's swinging around again, I mean, Fisk knows who he is. So, like, he can immediately, like, go get him thrown in jail, expose his identity, whatever. The only way that doesn't happen is if Matt has some kind of ace up his sleeve, like, you know, blackmail dirt on Fisk. I don't know. So I almost thought, man, if you're gonna go look for somebody in the sewer, like, don't put your suit on until you get in the sewer. So I almost saw this as like a mistake. Like, the way that it is, I don't think it's a mistake for him to become Daredevil again, like when he's ready. But the way he did it, like, he is now inviting like legal things upon him. So this is why I think Fisk is probably going to go after his, um, you know, his license to be a lawyer now. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
I was going to say, I think, you know, one of the things though, when he puts on the suit and he, you know, he's taken down a serial killer who I believe, I mean, he didn't actually capture him, but I think what that's going to do is it's going to be popular with the public because you hear them all the time saying the cops aren't doing enough and they got the vigilantes and keep doing what you guys are doing. And I think if he comes out and some other ones start coming out, it's going to put more pressure on Fisk to where people might actually turn against Fisk for that, you know. And he's not going to be happy about it, but maybe it's his way of, you know, somebody needs to take care of things and Fisk isn't going to do it, so we'll do it. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, it's going to have consequences, obviously, but I think if he does it, more people will start joining in.
Yeah. So you think people would riot if he went after Daredevil?
Yeah. I think they'll be popular with people, and I think that'll actually expose Fisk even more of who he is.
It seems like that would happen, but do you think that Fisk will expose his identity?
I think people already know who he is.
No, I mean, do you think he'll expose Daredevil's identity?
That's what I was wondering. I think there's a comic book where that happens.
Yeah, I think there is too, but I don't
Not
know.
100%. That's what I was looking up.
You're right, though. Public opinion has changed, and you see those news clips throughout the episodes. I mean, everybody's like, New York's so violent. We need Daredevil. Hell's Kitchen is becoming hell.
Yeah. It says actually his identity has been revealed several times, but every time they're able to cover it back up somehow.
Okay. Well, yeah, because one of the times in the comics, I mean, this is a comic spoiler, so just beware. But in one of the comics, Karen, she's not such a heroic character as she is in the show. She sold Daredevil's identity online or something. She sold his identity basically. So there was a betrayal there, and I don't think the show would go in that direction. Both based on what I've heard, but like they made Karen into somebody that everybody loves. I don't think they could make her into what she is in the comics and make the audience happy. They're just totally different characters to me.
Well, that would be a good twist. All of a sudden she shows up working with Fisk and outs Daredevil, but then that's all part of the big plan for season 2 when Foggy comes back and there's this whole underground espionage plan that has something to do with Miss Marvel and Hawkeye and Spider-Man, because I think he's going to show up later on. I don't know.
I do have a theory. I do have a theory about who will show up because I was flipping through the Born Again comic today, and yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, you probably shouldn't listen to this part. But and they've been so drastically different from the Born Again comic in this show that I don't know if they'll do this. But who shows up in the comic later is Captain America, and I would love to see that happen. But then again, in this Marvel universe, Chris Evans isn't around, so maybe they won't.
Anthony Mackie could show up.
Yeah.
But
see, those two make sense being on screen together to me.
Well, I was wondering, didn't we see? We talked about in the trailer we were watching, and there's actually one scene where Tom Holland is sitting there with him.
Yeah, it was fake though. Someone did I tell you about that? Somebody actually like uploaded the trailer and they spliced in several things. Here's the picture you're talking about. You see Tom Holland?
Fake now.
That's from I forget what that's from. But they spliced this in too, and I was like, wait, that's not Fisk, that's CGI. So look at real Fisk, and then look at this AI that they spliced in.
It looks like George the Animal Steel.
Yeah. So someone right before episode 1 debuted uploaded that trailer where they had spliced in those little Easter eggs.
Oh, I thought that was an official trailer.
It became it climbed way up in the rankings. Because I told you about it, Drew. So you got on YouTube, searched for the trailer. It's the first thing that popped up because you clicked on it, and I didn't send you that link. It was up there in the search results. The next day, I noticed it was gone because I sent that picture of Tom Holland talking to Daredevil to one of my friends, and he recognized this frame from one of the Marvel movies, No Way Home or something. And so then I went back to look for that trailer, and it was gone. I don't know why somebody did that, but they just took the first trailer and they just added 2 or 3 fake scenes to it, and it went viral. Yeah.
I mean, it happened so quick with the Spider-Man real fast. So you're like, oh, hey, that look like Spider-Man. But when you show the picture now of it still, you can look at it and you go, it doesn't look right, does it?
Yeah.
It looks a little
Well,
off.
it's not bad, but this one is.
That's a
And
bad
and
pick.
that one, like I thought, man, this is not good quality AI. I know a lot of studios are like tinkering with AI. So I kind of wondered if they were just experimenting with it because it literally just flashes for like a second. So it's so short that you could miss it. But yeah, it was fake.
Okay, so no Spider-Man.
Hey,
Nope.
got me.
I mean, maybe we'll get a surprise, but yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe we'll see Darth Vader in the next one.
Oh, they got it.
Toilet.
You just wanted to show that picture.
That's
Yep.
just bathrooms going to the dark side.
Well, I was wondering what you guys thought of Daredevil's return. Did you think it was pretty powerful? I thought it was
cool to see. It's like we've been waiting for him to put the suit on, and but like a Daredevil episode finally. I mean, not finally, but it just, it's always cool to see him back in the suit.
Yeah. I would have liked to see something bigger bring him out. I mean, I get it. There's nothing bigger than a child being kidnapped or lost, but
specifically tied to the case because Hector just died and he might feel responsible.
I think Hector's death would have been good. Now, I don't know if they could have continued with this character. Maybe they killed him off right away because the actor did have cancer at the time. But if they would have kept him around maybe one more episode, and then when they do kill him off, that's what makes him. It's just like, all right, I got to come back. We're down one vigilante. I got to show up and help out. So I would have liked to see something like that. But again, helping a lost or possibly kidnapped child is very important too.
Do you think he would have been killed? I mean, the answer might be yes, but do you think Hector would have been killed still if Matt had not revealed his identity in that court case? Because if the answer is no, then maybe that makes sense why Matt would go look for Angela, because he feels like it's his fault that Hector died because of that decision he made. Or was he going to die anyways because, whether or not they were crooked cops, Powell didn't. We think Powell is innocent in that case, but someone is out there thinking, well, my friend on the force got killed by Hector, so now Hector has to die. But because it's not Powell, it opens the door that maybe he just got killed because his identity got out there. Maybe I think
they would have gotten him anyway. I think they weren't happy that he was found innocent. They would have taken it in their own hands. That group that's got the Punisher logo on there, even though it's not the Punisher doing it. But I think they would have grabbed him and taken him down anyway.
Yeah. It's interesting too that Fisk was able to, or how he was able to get those guys on board for his task force. Now that made sense to me, but it's kind of funny though, because they're using those Punisher bullets. Like, Powell has that Punisher tattoo, but they're going to be tasked with hunting down Punisher. So that's kind of ironic.
Yeah. But again, what makes a vigilante a vigilante? Like, is Spider-Man a vigilante?
Yeah. Anybody who goes out to try to stop crime or kill, I don't know.
I mean, he's part of the Avengers, yeah, but he started off as a vigilante. He would just swing around and stop people from stealing bikes and give directions to old ladies. But, he was fighting crime without being a cop or something like that. So I don't think he wasn't around for Civil War, or he wasn't there at the end or beginning when they were doing the Sokovia Accords. So he may have been part of that. I don't know. That's where
that's interesting. If it's legal to be an Avenger, and I guess I don't know where they are with that in this year in the Marvel universe. If it's legal to be an Avenger, like it's legal on a national or international level, then why can't you be a vigilante in the state of New York City? Like, would the national or international laws supersede the city, or do you just have to leave New York? Because I mean, this would mean that Spider-Man has to leave New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Well, the last thing I thought was interesting was how Daredevil's arc, like his faith arc, comes back into it at the beginning of the episode. His girlfriend sees him praying. She says, "Are you praying?" And he says, "Yeah, it's something that I come back to." He's like, I'll stop for a while. I always end up coming back to it. Well, I know that, Drew, you haven't seen season 3, but there's a spiritual storyline there where he's kind of wrestling with God, basically. And when you catch up with him in this season, it's like he's kind of found his faith again. Like, he worked through that, but at the end of this episode, when he's giving CPR to Angela, he's praying, and like that tying together with him trying to save her life and putting the suit back on and conquering his temptation to kill Muse, like all 4 of those threads come together, kind of completing him, because he is a spiritual character. That's as much a part of his identity as Daredevil is. So I thought it was very satisfying the way the show was able to bring those all together and weave them in like that in this one scene.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very cool.
All right, guys. Well, any last thoughts?
No, it's been pretty good so far. I'm anxious to see. We got 3 episodes left.
I believe there's 6. I think there's going to be 12 total. This is the halfway point.
Okay.
If I'm wrong.
Oh no, there's 9 episodes.
Oh, and only 9.
Only 9. Okay. So yeah, we only got 3 left.
Man, there's only 4 episodes out of 9 with Daredevil in the suit. That's or 5, I guess. Interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Hope you guys will join us to talk about the rest of them, and check out season 1 on our video channel. And we'll see you soon.